God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. And what I mean by that is, if you would have asked me 8 years ago if I would be leading a recovery ministry, let alone be a state rep for Nevada, I would have told you you're done crazy and bumped your head. Like, that was not in the cards for me, you know. The only reason I went to Celebrate Recovery to begin with in the first place was I thought that would fix my marriage. I thought that's what my wife wanted. You know, I was hiding all sorts of things. I was hiding an affair, emotional affair. I was drinking, lying. My life was a mess. It was a wreck. But you would know that by looking at me. I would walk into church every Sunday, and I had that facade, right? Like, I'm a good Christian. You know, I walk in the door, I'm smiling, the family's good, life's good, all is well. But I was literally a mess on the inside. I remember, sitting in service, and I remember crying outside, like, God, where are you? You know, and just crying like, God, I need you now. And like every altar call, I was afraid. Like, I couldn't let people know, like, what would they think of me? I'm in church, I have these problems. Is it safe? Can I tell somebody? Weeks later, and I start going to Celebrate Recovery, and at first I'm like, oh man, this place is weird. All these people meeting on Friday nights, what is this? But by God's grace, as I sat in those small groups week after week, and I was able to share the garbage that was in my life, I started finding healing, freedom from my unconfessed sin. And as I developed those relationships and began to share and work my program, literally God started to break those chains of unconfessed sin. So James 5:16 says that if we confess our sins, we are healed, right? He forgives us already, but it's in the confession of our sins that we find healing. That's what I found. I confessed my sins. I was open, honest, transparent, and those chains, they began to break. I was a prisoner in my own personal hell, but as I walked through those steps, I found that freedom that I had been longing for. Like, I found my cure. If I had to tell somebody, one thing is, like, don't stop before the miracle happens. Like, I remember the hopelessness that I felt in my marriage. Like, this is it. Like, felt so hopeless. It was done. It was over. I'm such an advocate for marriage and for family, and I was hopeless. But God breathed life back into that. And it is because we're two loving, forgiving, submissive people that God is able to work in us. We allowed him to come into our marriage. We allowed him to fix our hurts, habits, and hangups, and we allowed him to bring us back together, which is it's a beautiful thing.